Silent Confessions, a night of vulnerability and connection. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silent Confessions, a place where hidden truths and untold stories come to light. Today, I'm sharing a story that's as unexpected as it is unforgettable, a tale about vulnerability, boundaries, and the complexities of relationships. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments below. These stories are meant to spark reflection and conversation, and I'd love to hear your perspective. Now, let's step into the moment that changed everything. It was a quiet Tuesday night in Cedarwood, a small town known for its picturesque streets and tranquil winters. Snowflakes danced in the glow of the streetlights, blanketing the town in a serene silence. Inside the house, the warm hum of the heater was the only sound, wrapping the space in an almost hypnotic stillness. My stepson, Nathan, had returned earlier than usual that evening. His car, perfectly parked in the driveway, reflected his meticulous nature. Nathan was 22, no longer a boy, but not quite fully an adult. He carried himself with confidence, yet there was a subtle hesitancy in his demeanor, a shadow of uncertainty that hinted at struggles he rarely voiced. I had just returned from work, slipping off my heels and hanging up my coat. The house felt unusually still. The absence of my husband, Jason, away on a business trip, more pronounced than usual. The space felt heavy, though I couldn't quite put my finger on why. As I poured myself a glass of wine, the faint sound of running water from upstairs caught my attention. Nathan was likely showering, nothing unusual about that. Yet there was something in the atmosphere that set me on edge. The quiet felt heavier, almost loaded, as if the house itself was holding its breath. I sipped my wine slowly, letting the warmth spread through me as I stared out the window. The snowflakes outside swirled in chaotic patterns, lit by the amber glow of the streetlights. A part of me wanted to shake off the unease and settle into the comfort of the evening, but the sound of the water drew me in, pulling me toward the stairs. Each step creaked softly beneath my weight as I climbed the staircase. The hallway was dim, lit only by the soft glow of a lamp in the corner. The bathroom door was ajar, steam curling out into the hallway like a beckoning hand. The bathroom door was ajar, a thin stream of steam curling out into the hallway like a beckoning hand. The scent of warm lavender mixed with the earthy tang of water vapor, creating an almost hypnotic atmosphere. My breath hitched, the mundane suddenly feeling significant, as though I were walking into a moment suspended in time. Something about the scene called to me, a pull I couldn't explain. My hand hovered near the doorframe, my mind racing with whether to step closer or turn away. A faint whisper of movement beyond the door teased my senses, urging me to take a step forward. My heartbeat quickened, the air around me heavy with anticipation. I hesitated, my hand hovering over the doorframe. Nathan was always careful about his privacy, and the sight of the door left slightly open was unusual. Something about it felt deliberate, though I couldn't say why. Slowly, I leaned closer, intending to call out to him, but curiosity stilled my voice. My heart raced as I stepped closer, my shadow stretching across the narrow sliver of light spilling from the doorway. I told myself I was just checking, ensuring everything was fine, yet the air seemed to pulse with an unspoken tension that I couldn't shake. The faint scent of cedarwood soap lingered, grounding me even as the curiosity tugged harder. The gap in the door felt like a threshold to something unknown, something I wasn't sure I was ready to face. But still, I didn't turn away. Instead, I allowed the moment to carry me forward, my breath catching as the scene inside began to take shape. Through the crack in the door, I caught sight of Nathan's reflection in the mirror. His back was turned to me, his torso bare and glistening with droplets of water. His movements were slow, deliberate, as if he were caught in a trance, his hands tracing over his chest and shoulders. The light above cast a golden sheen on his damp skin, highlighting the contours of his form in a way that seemed almost sculptural. Each motion was deliberate, almost reverent, as though he were searching for something beneath the surface. The steam swirled around him, softening the edges of the scene, making it feel like a fleeting glimpse into something intimate and unguarded. It wasn't just the physicality of the scene that held me there. It was the unspoken question it seemed to pose. What was he searching for in that quiet, solitary moment? And why did it feel like I was intruding on something far deeper than I could comprehend? The light above cast shadows across his body, accentuating the strength in his form. For a moment, I stood frozen, torn between retreating to respect his privacy and the inexplicable pull to stay. The faint scent of his soap lingered in the air, grounding me even as my thoughts swirled. I told myself to move, to turn away, but the moment seemed to hold me captive. There was something unspoken in the way his shoulders tensed, in the deliberate slowness of his movements, as though he was fighting a battle I couldn't see. My hand brushed against the doorframe, grounding me as I wrestled with the decision to stay or go. The weight of the moment pressed down on me, and yet I couldn't tear myself away, caught in the gravity of whatever was unfolding before me. A soft creak beneath my weight gave me away. Nathan's head snapped around, his eyes locking onto mine through the narrow opening. His expression shifted instantly, panic flashing across his face. "I didn't know you were home," he stammered, quickly grabbing a towel and wrapping it around his waist. His voice trembled, his usual composed demeanor completely shattered. The air between us felt charged, the sudden shift in energy making the small bathroom seem even smaller. His movements were frantic, yet his eyes betrayed more than just surprise. There was something deeper, a vulnerability that made my heart skip a beat. "It's fine," I said softly, my own voice wavering slightly as I fought to maintain composure. But the weight of the moment lingered, filling the space between us with an unspoken tension that refused to dissipate. "I didn't mean to intrude," I said quickly, stepping back to give him space. My cheeks flushed with embarrassment, but his reaction lingered with me. It wasn't just surprise. There was something deeper in the way he held himself, something unresolved. "Nathan," I began softly, my voice steady despite the rapid beating of my heart, "if something's on your mind, you can talk to me. I'm here for you." For a long moment, he didn't respond. His shoulders were tense, his hands gripping the edge of the sink as if to steady himself. Finally, he sighed and turned toward me, his gaze avoiding mine. "There's something I don't understand about myself," he said, his voice barely audible. "Take your time," I said, stepping into the room and closing the door behind me. "Whatever it is, you can tell me. You're not alone." Nathan sat on the edge of the bathtub, his posture stiff and his head bowed. "I've been feeling different," he admitted, his words halting. "I don't know how to explain it, but it's like there's this part of me I don't understand." The steam still lingered in the air, wrapping around us like a cocoon. His voice was barely audible, but the weight of his words pressed heavily on the space between us. I moved closer, careful not to disturb the fragile moment. "It's okay, Nathan," I said gently. "Whatever it is, you don't have to go through it alone." "I just don't know what to do," he murmured, his voice trembling. "You don't have to know right now," I said, my voice steady. "We'll figure it out together." The air between us felt heavy, yet intimate, charged with the unspoken weight of his confession. I listened carefully, letting his words sink in. "You don't have to figure it all out at once," I said gently. "Sometimes just saying it out loud is the first step." He looked up at me then, his eyes filled with a mix of fear and relief. "I've been holding on to this for so long," he confessed. "I didn't know who to talk to, but I feel like I can tell you." The silence that followed was heavy, yet it felt like an unspoken connection was forming. His hand briefly flexed against his thigh, the tension in his body still apparent. The flickering light caught the sheen of moisture on his skin, highlighting the fragility of the moment. "I was scared to say anything," he admitted, his voice breaking slightly. "But now I feel like I can breathe." His words hung in the air, and for a moment, time seemed to pause. The room felt warmer, the closeness between us charged with the weight of his honesty and the unspoken trust we were building. As the evening wore on, our conversation deepened. Nathan spoke of feelings he couldn't explain, moments that left him confused and questioning himself. His vulnerability was raw, his words laced with hesitation and self-doubt. "You're not alone in this," I said softly, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "It's okay to feel this way. What matters is that you're willing to face it." The tension in his shoulders eased slightly, and a small, grateful smile crossed his lips. "If this story touched you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. These moments of vulnerability are rare, but they remind us of the importance of connection and understanding. Don't forget to subscribe to Silent Confessions for more stories that explore the complexities of human emotions and relationships. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.